Hey everyone, welcome. We are at TGS 2013 in Tokyo. And Maxwell, you just got a chance to check out Crimson Dragon, an Xbox One launch title from Grounding and Land Ho. That's pretty reminiscent of the old Panzer Dragoon series.
Yeah. Unfortunately, not so familiar with those older games, but the way I understand it is this game, much like the previous games, it is a rail shooter, but it has some slight RPG elements to it, which you were telling me is sort of something they introduced later on in the Dragon series.
Yeah, Panzer Dragoon initially was a on-rail shooter where you flew dragons, and the dragons this time are pretty reminiscent of those in the past, but then they had a third game, Panzer Dragoon Saga, which was a full-blown RPG. So it seems now that they're mixing the two elements a bit?
Yeah, I asked specifically about, well, I guess we should go ahead and back up just a little bit and explain the game. When I was watching it, it gave me a very much of a sort of Child of Eden kind of vibe. As someone who's not necessarily familiar with the older games, it was very much like you're flying your dragon, you have your reticle, you're going through shooting down targets one by one by one. And there were two main fire modes that they were sort of emphasizing. So you had your primary fire where it has like the small circular target that you're shooting enemies with, and then you can also blow that out into a large rectangle that will automatically lock onto and fire upon any enemies that fly into its range. So he was saying, like, I think there's some sort of drawback, like maybe the shots aren't as strong, but basically it's useful for when large swarms of enemies fly in and attack you all at once.
And so initially this was going to be a game for the Xbox 360 that utilized Kinect. Now that it's on the Xbox One, it's using Kinect 2. Can you explain how that's integrated into the gameplay?
Yeah, he kind of, when they were talking about sort of how the game was going to control and function, they started out by showing a guy playing it with both the controller and using the Kinect. So they've sort of, I think originally the game was like really heavy Kinect focused, like it might have been all Kinect, but now they're sort of like...
There was a lot of fan feedback that was a little upset.
Yeah, they were like, kids, they're not so much with the Kinect. So you can play the game completely with a controller by itself if you want to, but there's also some hybrid options. So like, the guy was controlling the dragon with the controller, but he was also using voice commands to call on the partner dragons. So you can have, or at least in the demo we saw, he had a little partner dragon that could fly around and shoot down enemies, and it was sort of just, it was mostly AI control, but you could give it specific commands if you wanted to.
And did they mention anything about sharing dragons? Because I know you can customize your own.
Yeah, so there are, like I was saying earlier, there are some light sort of RPG leveling up aspects to it.
And can you share those with your friends?
Yeah. He was a little vague on like the specifics of how it would work, but you can customize your dragons, and then you can go online and you can upload them, and your friends can download them, and you can use those customized dragons as your partner dragon in the game. In addition to that, you can also have up to 3 friends play with you cooperatively online.
Well, the Xbox One and Crimson Dragon are both going to hit in November, so that's just around the corner. In the meantime, stay tuned to GameSpot for more coverage of Tokyo Game Show. Follow us on Twitter at #GameSpotTGS.